for those of you who are watching, if you don't know me, my name is McKinley Little. I am a real estate advisor with Windermere Central Coast, specializing in agricultural real estate, and I serve the entire San Luis Obispo County. So today, this is the start of my vlog series, Interview with a Real Estate Expert, and today I have Carley Smith with Cross Country Mortgage in San Luis Obispo. And we're going to ask her some questions to see if Carley is someone you want to hire for your next transaction. So, Carley.
Thank you, McKinley, for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. My first time doing this, so
Yay!
I'm really excited.
I love being a guinea pig.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're my guinea pig. So, we'll get started. I just kind of want you to tell, the viewers about yourself and your experience in lending.
So I have been in lending since 2004. I got into lending, I don't even know how, I just kind of ended up falling into it. And when I first started, every person was either a lender or a real estate agent. It was pre-financial crisis, stated income, stated assets. And I was with Wells Fargo. We're actually a joint venture with Wells Fargo, and we did not have any of those loans. So it made it really difficult to get any business because I wasn't doing the heartbeat, and a breath loan. So the good news is when the financial crisis did happen is I already knew how to originate full doc loans because those are the loans that I was used to doing. So when the pendulum swung the other way, I was already kind of in a really good position to grow my business. So I've been doing this since 2004. I've lived in SLO County since 1992. I moved when I was 1. No, just kidding. Moved down here from the Bay Area after high school and never left. I was fortunate to, create a family here. I'm a mom of 4. I have a 25-year-old, a 20-year-old, and 2 twins that are seniors in high school at SLO High. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That's amazing. Thank you. What are your most popular loans that you offer, and why are they your most popular?
I would say, me personally, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. So loans that tend to be more common for myself to originate are FHA loans or loan down payment. Loans that I have a love for first-time home buyers. So I feel like it kind of, I don't know, we're drawn to each other. And so I would say I do a ton of FHA loans. I do a lot of just regular straight conventional loans. And jumbos I do. Jumbo loans are anything over $800,000 in SLO County. But they can be really taxing on the client and just the whole process of it because they're just a little bit more difficult. But I do those, but I would say probably my primary loans are, your regular conventionals and your FHA loans.
Who handles your underwriting?
So here I'm really, really lucky because at our branch here in San Luis Obispo, we actually have an underwriter in our branch. I, prior to coming over to Cross Country, wasn't sure how I would feel about that, but she's an amazing resource to have. And, she's actually handled most of my loans since I made the move. And I mean, it's been an absolute seamless process. So it's really nice having her in-house, definitely. But we also have other underwriters and, we do it all virtually. So we upload everything into our system and then I can actually see when an underwriter is in my loan. So it's pretty handy. I can kind of watch them work as they go.
Oh, you got like a hand in everything with it. So that's so convenient.
Yeah.
What are the benefits it sounds like you kind of have in-house and out-of-house. What are the benefits to both of those?
I would say the in-house benefit is she's kind of there as I need her for a resource, or if she's having a hard time getting a loan approval on something, or we're human, we miss things. So if she comes to me and says, hey, I calculated this income a little bit differently, can you help me understand it? Or, hey, but I have a solution. What if we do this? So we can kind of brainstorm and strategize on how to make a file work, and it's a face-to-face conversation versus, like I say, somebody contacting you over Teams. However, for the virtual underwriters, the people that are not in our office, I mean, I have I get constant communication over Teams, and we can either have, a team Zoom meeting where we're talking about the file and saying, okay, we need to do A, B, and C to get it to go through, or hey, just get me one more of these things and then I can sign the file off and clear it to close. So communication is great on both sides. I will say, a really big difference between how we operate and some of the big companies like the 800 mortgages, the Rocket mortgages, and the Quicken loans is you don't know who you're dealing with all the time. So there's just not that hands-on type of feel. And I just feel like that there's less control of the file when you're dealing with 800 mortgages.
Yes, I agree. My biggest tip when you are looking for a lender is to look local, because the big box companies, they're not as in touch with the market and with you as a client or as a borrower as much as the local lenders are. And so that's why for all my clients, I'm always suggesting local lenders all the time. They always are they're closer in proximity, they understand what's going on in the market, and they really get you, and they're more invested in you as a person versus a file.
Also, the 800 mortgages, the Rockets, the Quickens, those are places where people go to start their career in mortgage. They don't have the experience that somebody who isn't getting spoon-fed leads from people calling on an 800 number handed to them. So they're there kind of for the volume and the learning experience. So for me personally, if you were my family member, I would not want somebody who just left working somewhere that wasn't in this industry handling my finances.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get a pre-approval letter from you?
It depends. I can move as fast as you. I can normally get one done. Let's say it's a little more complex of a client and there are a lot of tax returns to look over because the person is self-employed. Same day we can get it done. If it is somebody who is a W-2, salary, that is something that's really quick that we can get done as long as we have credit. Because pulling credit is really important for that pre-approval, because we have to, validate the debt to income ratios, validate the credit score, make sure that there's no adverse items on the credit, because sometimes those things are on there that people just don't know about. But yeah, within a day, normally it's a couple of hours.
What is your average loan processing time?
Loan processing time, like from loan submission to clear to close?
Yeah.
So I would say there's a couple of factors in there. Again, we move as fast as the clients. So if somebody has everything to me, pay stubs, W-2s, let's say this is just a salaried employee, bank statements, we've sourced any weird large deposits on the bank statements. So as long as we don't have anything funky on there, or we've sourced everything that we need to source, we submit it to our processor. She reviews and kind of pre-flights the file. That's normally 24 hours. Gets it over to underwriting. Right now, turn times with underwriting are same day or within 24 to 48 hours at the worst. Our biggest holdup timeline-wise is normally the appraisal. Appraisers, even though the market has, been a little, I don't want to say soft, but appraisers are still really busy because a lot of people are doing equity lines. So appraisers still are at a relatively high capacity. So an appraisal normally will take 7 to 10 business days. So I can do a loan, if I really push it, within 14 days.
How much of a down payment does a borrower need?
It depends. We do have no down payment loans available through, there's a couple of down payment assistance programs. There's also USDA loans. Those ones are a little bit tricky, but they're available, and we can actually, even if the appraised value comes in higher than the sales price, then the buyer can actually finance some of their closing costs as well. They'll go up to 100 and I believe 5% loan to value, including closing costs. So there is definitely some low to no down payments. I would say on average, most people, we say, if they're going to do an FHA loan, then 3.5%. Conventional loans will go 3%, but it has to stay below the conforming loan limit. So right now that's 700,000, which is pretty high. So yeah.
Okay. What programs are available for first-time home buyers?
There's a lot.
I know it's kind of a lot, but it's good to know that there's so many. So you can kind of go over just a few of your favorites or the most popular.
Yeah. So USDA, that is one that is that's my favorite for first-time home buyers. Primarily because they have really low rates. They don't charge an excess amount of fees. The only caveat is they're very, very strict on debt to income ratios.
Right.
And they're also very strict on where you're buying. There's also CalHFA, which is a grant program. I have a love-hate relationship with CalHFA. I love them because they do offer a lot of money. I don't love them because they charge excess fees. Their interest rates are higher, but they also have another grant that goes along with it called My Home. And you can get anywhere from $10,000. I don't know what it's going up to now. I want to say it's another 3 or 4% of the purchase price, depending on what you do for work. So if you work for the school systems or you work for the government, then you get more than just that $10,000. I am certified to do them, so that's another thing that's important is that the lender that you're working with, make sure that they're certified in those first-time home buyer programs. And then there's VA. VA is my favorite. So for our veterans, what is great here at Cross Country is that we have 0 overlays on our VA loans. So we underwrite the same exact way that VA would underwrite.
Okay.
Other lenders had additional, they're called underwriting guideline overlays, and if they see some really loose underwriting, they will apply overlays to protect themselves as the lender. So we'll go down to a 580 FICO score on VAs.
Wow. VA
is another great 0% down. It's eligible for, anybody who's been in the service for 2 years or longer. You don't have to be, an official veteran. It's a great home loan.
Do you offer any loans for self-employed buyers that are somewhat out of the box?
We do. So we have a bank statement program.
Okay.
We also have a 1099 program. So the bank statement program can be either 12 months or 24 months. You do have to be in business for a minimum of 2 years. And what they'll do is they will look over your deposits. You do need to have a separate business bank account. So if you are a business owner, you want to do not muddle it with your personal accounts. Even if you're just a small entrepreneur that does nails or is a hairdresser, it's really important that you separate those accounts and you have one for business, you have your personal, and then you can either pay yourself through your business into your personal, but we'll assess your last 12 or 24 months of deposits, and that is how we come to your income. And then the 1099 loan will just take straight. This is great for Schedule C clients because we just take the 1099 and we don't hit you with any deductions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. What kind of borrowers do you have experience with? Sounds like you have like a whole horde. We know she likes first-time home buyers.
First-time home buyers. They're just my favorites. They just feed the soul.
They hit my heart a little different too.
I've had some really tricky clients. Farmers, their income can be really tricky because they'll have multiple businesses and one business will show a massive loss. And then the other business will show a massive gain. I do have a ton of experience with self-employed clients. I've had people bring their tax returns and it's this big of...
They just bring you a box
and
slap it on your desk.
Okay, all right, I got this. I'll see you in a week. So, I would say all walks of life.
What is your experience with agricultural real estate in lending?
In conventional financing or just regular home financing, we're a little limited on what we can do from an agricultural standpoint. So if there's a hobby farm, not a problem. Somebody has some vineyards on their property, somebody has some avocado trees on their property, and they're just doing it kind of just for their own sense of self, non-issue. The problem we run into sometimes, if that is a business and they have Schedule F and it's now becoming an income producing, agricultural producing property, then that's a little bit different animal, and we refer you over to an agricultural land specialist, and that would be kind of more our local banks like American Riviera Mortgage or American Riviera Bank, Premier Valley, Umpqua, those are, or even Mechanics. Those banks do a really good job because they understand the agricultural portion of it. We can do up to 40 acres.
Okay.
So yeah, even
that's
on jumbo.
a sizable amount.
Yeah, that's a decent amount. And as long, and if there's some vineyards on there, whatever. Now, if you're buying a winery, little bit different animal.
Yeah, like you said, income producing property.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So this is a really big question. I ask all the lenders I like to work with this question because it's really important to me as a real estate advisor, and it should be really important to you as a borrower and a client is, can you be reached on the weekends?
Yes. I find that I am relatively always reachable.
She is.
I know that this is not a 9-to-5 world. And, if you want to get business, you have to be available when the business comes your way. And normally that's on the weekends. Time is of the essence when we're trying to get, an offer written up, and those offers are due at Saturday at noon, then, we want to make sure that I can do the pre-approval.
And that's why I think it's such a big question to ask, because like you're saying, a pre-approval, or if there is, a slight hiccup with your loan, or you have a question, can I make a big purchase right now? My car just died. I need to buy a car, and I'm in the middle of escrow. Is that okay?
Right.
So being available on the weekends is a huge deal. It is so, it's a big deal to me as a real estate advisor, because I am working for my clients, and sometimes things need to be resolved immediately.
Yeah,
there's no time to waste.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to have a partnership with our realtors. I mean, we're this little trifecta that makes the transaction happen, and the more we work together, and if there is an issue, I can call you and say, hey, McKinley, okay, so we've got a situation. Like, this is our workaround. I normally try to have a fix with the problem, so I can call you and say, but I fixed it, it's okay. But the transparency, I think, is really important, and the honesty is really important. And I think it's important to know it's not always, we're in a really rate sensitive environment right now, but it's not always about rate. You get a very different experience at Nordstrom's than you do at Walmart for a reason. And, I'm not, and there's really good deals at Nordstrom's. You can find good deals at Nordstrom's. So I think, because somebody offers good service doesn't mean that they're going to gouge you in rate. We're incredibly competitive. And I think service is something that's really important. And on that note, we service our own loans here across country. So that's something that's important. You're not going to be shoved off to an 800 number after you close. For me, clients for life is key. And so, I would not put myself at a company that I couldn't look your loan up and find out what's going on. Let's say if there's an issue with, do I need to pay my taxes? How does this work? Do you guys pay my taxes? I got a bill, but you're supposed to, we have impounds. All of these things, it's really important to know.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. And that's another really good reason why you need to work with local lenders, is because I am building relationships with local lenders. And so to have that personal relationship between a real estate advisor and a loan officer, it's huge. Because we can work together as a team to make your transaction go just smooth as butter. And so it's a huge deal.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it just makes it, I don't know, it's nice when it feels like a team effort.
It does.
I look at myself as, with my referral partners, I'm an extension of you. We have the same hat on, we're on the same exact team, and we collaborate to make your experience that much better.
And it's harder to do that, in my experience, with a you know, a bank that is not a local bank, not a local lender, a big box lender, because I get the phone number from the client. Oh, here's my lender. You know, give them a call. You know, because I say, you know, I need to talk to your lender. And when I just don't really know who it is, I don't know who I'm dealing with. I don't know what they can do. It's a lot harder for me to do my job to the best of my ability without that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another thing. I mean, I'm always shop local, live local, use local. So I'm very partial to local, but I mean, for good reason. I think it's a no-brainer, especially in a place like San Luis Obispo County. We are very local centric.
Yes,
so
I love it.
Yeah, we need to stick together.
Live local.
It's local, exactly. Okay, I hate when people ask me this question, so I had to ask all the lenders that I'm interviewing this question, but why should borrowers work with you versus any other local lender or big box lender?
That is a good question. I think the best answer is I care immensely about my clients. I actually get a little sad at the end of the transaction. I've actually had some people go, "Is this where we break up?"
Oh no!
I'm like, no!
You're like, we're never breaking up. We're together.
Never rid of me. I really care about my clients, and I care about kind of just how the whole thing goes. And you know, I think that I pride myself in being there, being available, communicating, educating. It's huge. You know, I want you to understand, you know, why we're asking for certain things. Like, you'll always get an explanation from me. I don't just ask for something and say, well, it's because we need it. It's, well, you know, I try to let people know, and this is kind of my biggest one-liner, is if you were loaning somebody $500,000, would you not want to know everything about that person?
Right.
And their ability to repay you? That is kind of, I ask you to put that hat on, and I think it just flips the script a little bit, and it helps, you know, you have that mutual understanding of why we need things. And I think if there's an understanding, and it's, you know, not just like this mother may I, I think it just helps educate you, the client.
I think it also makes them feel more confident in their decisions because they feel educated about something they had no idea, maybe. Or if you've owned a home and then haven't bought a new home in a really long time, I mean, having that education behind you, make those decisions that you need to make.
And I find it's incredibly important to go over your disclosures and your documents that you receive from me.
To know what you're signing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big deal.
Send that to you and be like, sign it. You know, it's like the first thing that I ask is, would you like to set up an appointment or a time where we can go through these things? We can go now with Zoom and FaceTime. You know, there's no reason why we can't go over everything, or even if it's over the phone. I line item by line item, I will go through every single charge and explain to you what it is. Like, what is title insurance? Why do I need this? What is owner's title insurance? Why do I need this? I mean, it's really important to know, why do I have this many days of prepaid interest? Why do I have to come up with this many months taxes? I mean, there is so much that goes into buying a home that I love to explain it to people.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, doing this with me. I think this is so valuable for anyone who's looking for a lender. You get to see her, you get to kind of talk to her, interview her, and no one has to call you.
Yeah,
you can just talk to me if you want.
Yeah, we won't call you unless you ask.
Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this.
McKinley.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I think.
If you are interested in working with Carley, pause this video, take a picture of her contact information, and get a hold of her today. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you go out there and make it a great day.